Second day of factoring. All right, we're factoring a polynomial, in this case a trinomial, with a leading coefficient of something bigger than 1. Alright, so we have 2x squared plus 16x plus 30. Now if I start factoring, as I've told you in the last video, using the Rosa method, okay, so if you didn't watch the first video, I really suggest you go back and watch that first one, 7.6 day 1. So we're going to use the Rosa method of factoring. So what Mr. Rosa said was we take this first term and we write it 2 times. So 2x, 2x, and I'm going to divide it by the leading coefficient. Right? So that leading number. We look at the signs, both positive. So as you recall from the last video, the notes I gave you, both of these signs are going to be positive. Now back to Mr. Rosa's method. 2 times 30 gives us 60. Now this is the one thing that Mr. Rosa's method really some students are going to struggle because sometimes the numbers are going to get big. Alright, but we just have to go through it. If you have a calculator and you don't know your multiplication tables, just use your calculator. Okay? So like I said, if you don't know your multiplication tables, get your calculator. So here's the calculator. So we have 60. Well, 1 times 60, 2 times 30, 3 times 20, 4 times 15, and this is what I'm talking about. If you're not really sure, how to use your calculator in this point, you're going to take 60 divided by, in this case, 4. What does that give me? 15. Alright, so then like 60 divided by 5. So I can write down 5 times 12. Alright, because that's what it gave me. 6 times 10. And let me show you one that doesn't work. So 60 divided by 7. Alright, you get a decimal. Don't even try doing anything with it. As soon as you get a decimal, move on. Alright? You want to move on from it. So 7's not going to work. 8's not going to work. 9's not going to work. Well, you get back to 10, and now you're just repeating yourself. So we stop. Alright, so which pair is going to give me 16? Alright, well, 6 plus 10. So I have 6 and my 10. So as we did in the past, I'm going to look at all of these numbers. Alright, what can I divide them all by? I can divide them all by 2. Right, I can divide them all by 2. So 2x divided by 2 gives me x. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. And then 2 divided by 2, 1 and done. So remember, as soon as we get 1 in the denominator, we're done. Well, now I'm left with 2x plus 10. But the directions said factor completely. This binomial here is not factored completely. I can still factor out a 2 from it. Because if you look at both of those numbers, 2 and 10, do you agree that I could divide both of those numbers by 2? So in that case, now I have to drag that 2 that I can factor out from this one and this one. I have to drag that 2 all the way out in front. Let me bring down this x plus 3. And now, what is 2x divided by 2? Gives me x. What is 10 divided by 2? Gives me 5. Now that is completely factored. Alright? So let's look at this problem one more time. Same problem, but if you look at it from the beginning, look at all the numbers. Just concentrate on the numbers. Do you agree I could divide them all by 2? Alright, so let's drag that 2 out in front to begin with. Alright, that 2, this 2 that I'm dividing by, I'm going to put it out in front to begin with. So what am I left with? Well, 2x squared divided by this 2 that's out in front, I'm left with x squared. 16x divided by 2 gives me 8x. 30 divided by 2, I'm left with 15. Alright, so now that I got that 2 out in front, it just keeps coming along for the ride. Alright, just keep dragging it along. So now let's do this Rosa method. He said, alright, Mr. Rosa said, take this first term, whatever it is, and write it down 2 times. So 1x, 1x, and I have to divide by the leading coefficient. Well, the leading coefficient here, do you agree, is a 1? Alright, so I'm going to divide by that 1. Well, what have we said in the past? We've said in the past, as soon as you get a 1 in the denominator, you're done. So that's what makes these problems a little bit nicer, because I already have a 1 in the denominator. I don't have to come back, if we come back to part A, I don't have to come back and divide by 2. I don't have to worry about all this mess, because I already had a leading coefficient of 1. So divide by 1, as we've been saying, 1 and done. Alright, so let's go through the problems. Alright, we know both the signs are going to be plus. Now this time I have 1 times 15, which gives me 15. The first time I had 60. This one makes it a little bit easier. 1 times 15, 3 times 5. I can't do anything else. Well, adding or subtracting, what's going to give me this middle term of 8x? Alright, what's going to give me that middle term? 3 plus 5. Alright, so I'm just going to rewrite 3 and 5. Well, we got 1 in the denominator, 1 and done. So the final answer is just 2 times x plus 3 times x plus 5. And as you recall, you're going back and checking these, correct? Alright, so in this type of problem, how you would check it is you're going to multiply just these two binomials together first. Alright, don't worry about the 2 out in front. Don't worry about that. Multiply those 2 binomials together first, and you'll end up at this step right there. And then if you distribute that 2, then you'll end up back here at your final answer. Alright, you'll be right there at your final answer. But be sure to be checking your answers. Alright, I can't stress that enough. Be sure to check your answers. So you can see, as long as you factor out the greatest common factor first, alright, yank that GCF out in front first. This number here, when you multiply the first number times the last number, it's going to be a whole lot smaller. Alright? So let's do a few more practice problems. And again, at any point, hit pause. You try it. If you get stuck, that's fine. Alright? If you get stuck, that's okay. You can always hit play and watch me do it. 6x squared minus 21x plus 9. Are you noticing anything here? Are all the numbers a multiple of something? Right? If you want to try it, hit pause. I'll wait. Alright, so I noticed I could factor out a 3. 6x squared divided by 3. I'm left with 2x squared. Minus 21x divided by 3. I'm left with 7x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Alright, now, like I said, we keep dragging that 3 out in front. Whatever that GCF is, alright, whatever we factored out, just keep dragging it along. Alright, now factoring using the Rosa method. 2x, 2x, all divided by 2. Alright? What are our signs going to be? Second sign being positive tells me both of these signs are exactly the same. They both have to be negative. Alright? So I'm hoping you're taking advantage of that little tip. So they both have to be negative. 2 times 3. Alright, I'm multiplying the first term coefficient times the constant. 2 times 3 gives me 6. Do you agree 6 is a whole lot easier than multiplying 6 times 9 to give you 54? Think about all the factors of 54 versus all the factors of 6. Alright, so let me get rid of that mess. Alright, that's a lot of work. I don't want to do that. 1 times 6, 2 times 3, and I'm done. Adding or subtracting, what's going to give me 7? Well, add 1 and 6 together. Signs are the same, so it doesn't matter where the numbers go. I have 3. Alright, so again, I just keep dragging that GCF, I just keep dragging it along for the ride. I'm not doing anything else with it. Isolate that. Can I do anything with this 2, this 1, and that 2? Well, the only thing they're all multiples of is 1. It's not going to help me. So I'm going to drag this 2 over here. Rewrite 2x minus 1. Alright, now 2, 6, and 2. I can divide them all by 2. Alright, I can divide them all by 2. So 2x divided by 2 is x. Minus 6 divided by 2, 3. 2 divided by 2, 1 and done. Alright, I'm done. You're checking your answers though. Alright, part C. Part C. Negative 20x squared minus 45x plus 45. Alright, a little bit trickier. Do you notice I have a leading coefficient is negative? Alright, as soon as that happens, I want to factor out a negative. Sometimes you're only going to be able to factor out a negative 1. But I look at all my numbers, 20 and 45. I notice they're all multiples of 5. So I want to factor out that 5. Right, keeping in mind I'm factoring out a negative. What happens when I factor out a negative? All the signs are going to change. So negative 20x squared divided by negative 5 is a positive 4x squared. Negative 45 divided by negative 5, positive 9x. Positive 45 divided by a negative 5 gives me a negative 9. Alright, at this point, that's the only thing I needed to teach you. At this point, you should be able to do the rest of this problem. Hit pause, go. Alright, so I have that negative 5 out in front. Using the Rosa method, 4x, 4x, all over 4. Keep dragging that coefficient, that GCF out there, right? Greatest common factor. Second sign being negative tells me what? That second sign being negative tells me the signs are going to be different. I don't care where the plus and minus go. The signs are going to be different. 4 times 9 is going to give me 36. Alright? Start going through them. 1 times 36. 2 times, well, if you don't know, grab your calculator, drag this thing over here. What do we say? 36 divided by 2 equals. Alright, so then I know it's going to be 2 times 18. Keep going. If you need your calculator, 36 divided by 3 is 12. Alright, so then you know 3 times 12. Keep going. 4 times 9. Again, I want to show you. 36 divided by 5 will not work. Alright, don't put 5 and 7.2. Don't do that. If you don't get a whole number, you keep going. Alright, so 5 doesn't work. 6 times 6. Now you notice they're just going to repeat after that. Stop. Quit doing extra work. Alright, adding or subtracting. Which one are we going to use to get 9? Well, sorry. Just trying to highlight. I apologize. 12 minus 3 will give me that middle term of 9. This middle term right here. That's what I'm looking for. So 12 minus 3 gives me that middle term of 9. Now, as you recall, we want to take the bigger number. I want to take the bigger number here, which is 12, and I want to match it up with that sign. So 12 is going to go here, and then the 3 goes there. Alright, so let's start dividing here. 4, 12, and 4. I can divide all of those by 4. Alright, so they're all divisible by 4. 4x divided by 4, simply x, or 1x. 12 divided by 4 gives me 3. 4 divided by 4, 1 and done. Alright, we get that 1, we stop, drag this 4x minus 3 down, and again you're checking it. Alright, so make sure you know how to do these problems. Find some problems, make sure you know how to do them.